News coverage today as Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin has declared a state of emergency for the city of Columbia.
Benjamin is calling for masks to be worn to protect kids inside our city's elementary and middle schools, both public and private, and daycares. Here's what he had to say a short time ago.
We are again at a significant challenging point. The rise of the Delta variant has not only imperiled our public health with a much more contagious version of the COVID-19 virus, but we've watched it rage through our community, a tenfold increase in infections just in the past month. The Delta variant, unlike the previous strands of the virus, has shown not only an amazing ability to infect all of us, but an incredible ability to infect our children. Many of us shuddered as we read reports of our children's hospitals all across this country, including right here in our fair city, being at capacity with our children suffering from COVID-19 and other respiratory ailments, along with all the other ailments, many of which we're seeing make their way back into our common lexicon because of this anti-vaxxing movement and discussion that we're seeing across the country. Children dealing with chicken pox and whooping cough and any number of different ailments. We're at the point right now where there are several vaccines authorized for emergency use by the CDC, and an increasing number of South Carolinians are taking advantage of that vaccine, and we need to see that number increase dramatically, well over 70%, to try and suppress the incidence of this virus. Regrettably, the vaccines have not been approved for those under 12 in the U.S. That means that in 2 weeks, across this community, tens of thousands of young people will be required to go back to school. Parents are legally required to send their children back to school. We have compulsory attendance laws in South Carolina. Thousands of dedicated, hardworking, committed teachers who have watched their lives be turned upside down because they've been pursuing their passion of wanting to educate our children, educate our babies, are facing an amazingly uncertain future as they decide to either pursue their passion of educating our children or to risk their lives by stepping back into a classroom. We have determined that this amazing confluence of challenges has put us into a position where we must do what we think is necessary, and that is do everything possible, everything within our authority to protect the health, life, and safety of our families, of our children first, and the professionals who have dedicated their lives to providing for them.
Well, state law prevents mask mandates inside our schools, so many may be wondering tonight how the mayor of Columbia is able to do this.
News 19's Ty Wong joins us live from City Hall with more on this. Ty, I know you had a chance to speak with an attorney about how this might play out.
Yeah, good evening, Darcy and JR. Now, that press conference just happening 2 hours ago with the mayor saying that masks will be mandatory in schools. Now, not quite an attorney, Darcy, but he's actually a professor for constitution law at the University of South Carolina. And he says the governor, well, that mandate that he put in place back in May, it doesn't hold up with the mayor's declaration of emergency. And it's also raising questions of what happens to the proviso with schools.
Issue an emergency declaration that will require masking in our middle schools and our elementary schools inside the corporate limits of the City of Columbia.
City of Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin announcing that he will be placing a mask mandate for schools within the city. Staff, students ages 2 to 14, and visitors must wear a face covering. This comes as the Palmetto State is seeing increasing cases of COVID-19, and hospitals are reporting their pediatric ICUs are at capacity.
These children are the unvaccinated, and they do not have the option to be vaccinated, unlike you and I and other adults. They are unprotected, and we're watching the Delta variant rage through this community and communities all around the world.
This order is raising questions about if the mayor can do this after Governor McMaster placed a ban on mask mandates.
Under state law, I have the authority to declare an emergency here in the city. Within 24 hours, City Council has to meet and decide whether or not they're going to support that declaration.
Thomas Crocker, a professor of constitutional law at the University of South Carolina.
And clearly we have a conflict as well. The governor is seeking to prohibit mask mandates, and the mayor is seeking to implement them.
Crocker says when banning mask mandates, Governor McMaster removed the ability for the mayor to rely on the state declaration as a legal base to order a mask mandate.
But it doesn't say anything about the mayor's own independent municipal powers to declare a municipal state of emergency in order to do a mask mandate.
But what about the state proviso that bans schools from imposing a mask mandate?
There's some room in the wording of that proviso that speaks specifically to state appropriated funds. Obviously, a significant amount of funding is available through local taxes as well as through federal taxes. I think there's some room for the school districts. It's important, however, for us that not be a concern. We're going to make the masks available through the city so that any appropriation shouldn't be a concern.
Now, Darcy and JR, I also asked Mayor Benjamin if he plans on extending this executive decision to all of Columbia, but he says that he's not going to impose it on adults because they are old enough to make their decisions if they want to wear a mask and if they want to get vaccinated or not. Reporting in Columbia, Tai Wong, News 19 WLTX. Darcy.